When a robot starts to think and plan its own moves, it needs to be able to sense the world. If a robot needs to avoid obstacles, it first has to sense the obstacle and then react to it by moving away. One very useful sense is sight. Humans and animals have developed very clever eyes to see pictures, shapes and colours. Using the information from these eyes, animals can react to obstacles and take action to avoid collisions. A variety of artificial eyes have been developed to allow robots to sense in a way similar to animal eyes. Your robot has 4 sensors that act as its eyes. 2 at the front looking down at the floor, and 2 near the back that look at the black and white patterns on the wheels to help to measure distance travelled. These eyes see in a special way. They see by sending out infrared light and looking at how much is reflected. Our eyes cannot see infrared light, but the robot's eyes are specially designed to see it clearly. Your television controller works using this type of light. When you press a button, a beam of infrared light is sent to the television. Snakes also have small infrared sensors in their heads that detect the infrared signals in the form of heat given off by small animals. This allows them to hunt at night. To help us in this activity, the robot's sensors are able to see the difference between black tape and white paper. The robot's computer is then able to use this information to change the way it moves. Later on, you can experiment to see if the sensors can see other dark colours. You will use these robot eyes to confine the robot to an area in the same way farmers confine their animals to fields. Take a sheet of paper and, choosing a shape, mark it out with some black tape. I've chosen a square with some of the corners cut off. Make sure you use the full size of the paper and you don't leave any gaps. Place your robot inside the area and select mode B0. Switch sequences. Power on. Press switch A once, then press switch D twice, and finally press switch A twice. Display should now show B0. As in other modes, there are now 3 active switches. Switch A becomes a start-stop switch. Switch B reads the pot values, and switch C exits the mode. We will discuss the pot settings later on. Press switch A. Notice what happens. The robot will bump its way around the area for about 2 minutes, or until you either press switch A or switch C. If your robot is running correctly, stop it by pressing switch A, then insert a barrel broad felt tip pen, making sure that the tip is touching the paper. Press switch A to restart. The robot will now start to draw shapes based on the shape of your area. Your robot will not run as fast as this. The video has been speeded up. Notice that the picture being drawn by your robot is very regular. OK, time to make some changes. Notice that when the robot hits the line, it reverses, spins then moves off in a new direction. It does this every time. This is the computer's plan to deal with getting away from the black lines. Engineers use a special diagram called a flowchart to show plans like this. Here is the flowchart for the robot escape plan. You can now use the 3 pots to vary the way the plan works. Pot 1 changes the amount of reverse when the robot detects the black tape. Pot 2 changes the amount of spin after the robot has reversed. And pot 3 allows you to make the forward movement curved, just like you did in the 10-pin bowling activity. Without using the pen, experiment with different settings to see their effects. Once you have an interesting effect, use the pen to create a picture. You can swap pens with other teams to get multicoloured designs. The robot's behaviour in this activity is a bit like that of a small animal. For example, imagine a mouse running away from a cat. However, your robot's behaviour is too predictable, so a chasing animal will be able to catch it quite easily. A real animal escapes in a much more random way, so that the chasing animal would find it difficult to guess where it will go. Robokid has a mode that tries to mimic the way a mouse would behave if being chased by a cat. The mode is B1, and from power on use the switch sequence A, 2D, A, D, A. You can reverse the sheet of paper to make a new shape and some new drawings. Insert the pen as before, then press switch A to draw the resulting movements. Compare this picture with the one generated in mode B0. Which picture do you prefer? Why do we use black tape in this activity? Is it just because it's black? To find out, you should experiment with some other black materials. Try making a bump line from the following materials: black felt tip pen, black biro, black paint, or a black line from a photocopier. You can try as many other black materials as you can think of. Remember, if you're using black paint, make sure that it is completely dry before running your robot. Make a note of the materials that work and the materials that don't work. You may be surprised with the results. Can you explain your results?